James Dyson wasn't trying to change the world. He just wanted a vacuum that actually worked. In the 1970s, frustrated with his Hoover losing suction, he tore it apart and found the culprit, a clogged bag. That one moment, a puff of dust and disappointment, sparked a lifelong obsession. He believed airflow could be engineered better. But nobody thought air could make you a billionaire. At a sawmill, Dyson noticed massive cyclones spinning dust out of the air. What if that same principle could work in a vacuum? It wasn't a crazy idea, just one no one had dared to try at home. So he built his first prototype in a backyard shed, using cardboard and tape. It looked ridiculous, but it worked, sort of. He didn't stop at one prototype. Or 10. James Dyson built 5,127 vacuum prototypes over 5 years. That's nearly 3 failed designs every single day. Each model a little better, suction stronger, materials lighter. Friends said he was obsessed. Manufacturers, they said he was insane. But Dyson didn't care. He wasn't chasing money. He was chasing an idea that wouldn't let him sleep. Every major vacuum manufacturer turned him down. Too expensive. Too weird. No one will buy a bagless vacuum. They didn't see innovation, just risk. So James took a mortgage on his house and went solo. He licensed his tech to Japan, where the G-Force cleaner became a hit. And suddenly the man with 5,000 failures wasn't so crazy anymore. In 1993, he opened Dyson Limited. In the UK, his own company, his own rules. The Dyson DC-01 became the best-selling vacuum in Britain within 2 years. No ads, just performance. James built a design empire on failure, literally. Because with every flop, he learned something new. He didn't just sell vacuums. He sold persistence in every part. Dyson didn't stop at vacuums. He questioned everything: fans, dryers, even hand washers. Why do they make noise? Why are they slow? Each product was a challenge. Deconstruct it, rebuild it, make it smarter. The bladeless fan, inspired by jet engines. The airblade, tested in wind tunnels. Because for Dyson, normal is just a word lazy people use for outdated design. To protect his ideas, Dyson filed thousands of patents. Over 3,000 worldwide. Invention wasn't enough, defense was part of the design. Competitors tried to copy him, sued him, mocked him, but Dyson's legal team was as precise as his engineering. He built machines, and built walls around them too. Because in the world of invention, the first idea only wins if it's also the most protected. In 2017, Dyson launched his own university, the Dyson Institute of Engineering and Technology. No tuition, no debt. Students get paid to build, test, and innovate. Because the next great idea, it might not come from him. It might come from a kid soldering wires in a garage. Dyson believes knowledge isn't power. Shared knowledge is. And he's betting the future on it. Today, Dyson is worth over $20 billion. But that's not the story. The story is 5,127 failures. The nights he questioned himself. The silence from every investor. The dust, sweat, and prototypes that nobody wanted. He didn't invent the vacuum. He reinvented grit. And showed the world what happens when persistence gets patented. James Dyson's story isn't about vacuums. It's about ideas that won't leave you alone. About failing so many times. You forget what quitting even feels like. So what about you? What's your 5,127? What invention, project, or dream deserves your next failure? Never give up. Subscribe for more stories of relentless minds. Before Dyson, vacuums relied on bags that clogged and weakened suction. It was inefficient but profitable. Bag replacements brought in billions. So when James introduced a vacuum that never needed a bag, the industry didn't celebrate. They panicked. He wasn't just changing machines. He was threatening an entire business model. With no support from manufacturers, Dyson funded his journey alone. He sold paintings, took out loans, maxed out every option to keep building. His wife supported the family by teaching art. They cut luxuries. They cut pride, but never the dream. Because when the world says that's impossible, some people stop. James Dyson doubled down. To Dyson, beauty came after utility. Form followed function, not fashion. He believed design wasn't decoration. It was engineering that made sense. That's why Dyson products feel different. Transparent, minimal, honest. You can see the air spin. You can hear the math. Every curve, angle, and color built to serve, not sell. Failure didn't discourage Dyson. It gave him data. Every busted motor, every flawed design, a clue to improve. He logged everything. Tested obsessively. Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the blueprint of it. And every screw-up got him 1 micron closer to the perfect machine. When the Dyson DC-01 launched, people didn't whisper about it. They talked. A vacuum with no bag, no loss of suction, and a price tag that made rivals scoff. But it claimed better. It looked like the future. And in just 2 years, it outsold every vacuum in Britain. They left. Then he outsold them. Before Britain believed in Dyson, Japan did. The G-Force, his early model, launched there first. It was bold, bright, and expensive. But it worked flawlessly. It won a design award, sold out in weeks, and made Dyson his first million. Sometimes the people who understand you aren't next door. They're across the ocean. Dyson's success wasn't overnight. It was 5 years of silence before anyone called back. 10 years before profits. 15 before global recognition. Today's world craves speed. But invention doesn't work like that. It needs patience. It needs obsession. And James Dyson had both. In industrial quantities. Even after global success, Dyson never stepped back. He tested products himself, visited production floors, questioned every screw and sensor. Engineers feared his walkthroughs, not because he yelled, but because he noticed everything. For him, excellence wasn't a feature. It was a requirement. You don't build perfection from the top floor. You build it from the assembly line. The Dyson Design Lab looks more like a sci-fi set than a factory. Prototypes float in mid-air wind chambers. Engineers run simulations on dust particle behavior. No flashy colors. No gimmicks. Just problems being solved. By people who are obsessed with solving. At Dyson, design means disruption. And nothing gets built unless it breaks something old. Dyson didn't just redesign a vacuum. He redesigned how the world sees invention. His products became icons. His name a verb. You don't vacuum the floor. You Dyson it. From frustration to global recognition. From cardboard tubes to billion-dollar patents. James Dyson didn't chase fame. He earned legacy. Dyson never wanted to build a brand. He wanted to build a lab, where failure wasn't shameful, it was expected. Where good ideas got challenged and bad ones got tested anyway. The name on the product wasn't about fame. It was a signal that what you held in your hand was earned through thousands of hours of trial, error, and engineering obsession. Dyson's mission has outgrown vacuums. Now they're tackling clean air, robotics, and even electric vehicles. He's investing billions into long-term research. Not quick wins, not fast markets, because he believes innovation should serve the future, not the shareholders. When James Dyson says we're just getting started, you believe him, because real inventors never stop solving. Not every Dyson idea worked. The washing machine flopped. The electric car shelved. Even visionaries get it wrong. But failure never derailed Dyson, it redirected him. He treated bad results like detours, not dead ends. Because if you fear looking foolish, you'll never build anything that matters. James Dyson's greatest asset wasn't money. It was obsession, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m. Because a motor design won't leave your mind alone. That keeps you rebuilding what already works, just to see if it could be 1% better. To most, obsession looks dangerous. To inventors, it's the only path forward. Ask Dyson what the future looks like, and he won't show you a product. He'll show you a prototype. Rough, incomplete, maybe even broken. Because he knows. That's where everything starts. That's where greatness lives. In the mess, in the unknown, in failure, again and again and again. James Dyson once said, "Failure is the filter that leaves only the best ideas." You don't know what works until you watch everything else fail. In the lab, dust gets caught in a filter. In invention, bad ideas do too. That's not loss. That's refinement. That's how progress breathes. At the Dyson Institute, students aren't memorizing theories. They're building, failing, rebuilding. Each prototype is a lesson. Each setback is progress. Because the next Dyson isn't a name. It's a mindset, a refusal to give up, a willingness to look wrong until you're right. They're not just learning engineering. They're learning how to not quit. The irony. Dyson knew his work would be copied. And it was. From knockoffs to billion-dollar brands mimicking his designs. But imitation wasn't defeat. It was validation. You know you've built something great when the world can't stop trying to steal it. He didn't chase trends. He created blueprints for them. Most inventors chase what looks impressive. Dyson chased what others ignored. Dirt, dust, microns, tiny things no one saw but everyone lived with. He proved innovation didn't have to be flashy. It had to be functional. Because the most powerful inventions often start with the smallest problems. 5,127 failures. One relentless mind. Now sold in over 80 countries. From homes to hospitals. From dorm rooms to design labs. Dyson machines hum quietly behind the scenes. But they were born loud. In a shed, with tape, cardboard, and no certainty. The world saw success. But James Dyson, he built it from failure on purpose. So what does 5,127 failures look like? It looks like the world's quietest vacuum, the fastest hand dryer, the cleanest air, and a name whispered in design schools as gospel. James Dyson didn't just suck dust. He sucked out excuses, one failed prototype at a time. And he left a message in every motor. Never stop building.